Welcome back to E-Erotic the brand. Hi, my name is Eden Lee Middleman, your favorite dating and sex coach here. There is this whole notion and concept about how to be unbothered. And as per usual, everyone out here is taking it the wrong goddamn way. Because when we think of the word unbothered, we feel like, I don't care. I don't care about you. I don't care about me. I don't care about anything. Fuck everyone. There's a bit of hurt, a bit of sadness, a bit of low vibrational, stupid, bitch-like behavior and energy that comes with this whole, I'm unbothered. I just need to be unbothered and like all my problems will be solved. No, you're going to have more problems if you are unbothered by things. What a sad little life that might be to live completely unbothered. And this is sort of the direction everyone's taking it as. Of course, the concept was never really intentionally supposed to be about not caring or having this attitude problem and dropping everything and everyone and giving up on yourself and just, going about your day with your brain completely wiped and erased from any care in the world. Well, you might think that that's blissful if you're an anxious person. It's actually not, okay? The key and root to being unbothered is to know what is worth me being bothered by, what is beneficial having that bothered pressure, and what is not. The truth is, being a little bothered by things creates momentum, creates pressure for you to change, for you to go after goals, for you to pursue somebody or something, for you to have a goddamn fucking purpose in life. And as you guys know, without a purpose, without things that you care for, without things that you stand on, you are a shell of a human being that is being whisked back and forth from whoever and whatever is out there. And you're living a very meaningless life, which then puts you in a very dark, deep, depressed place. And that's not what we're going for here. It's not attractive, it's not beneficial, and it's not healthy. There is something to be said, however, about being unbothered that is sexy, that screams confident, that keeps you in a healthy, balanced state of mind. So when I think of the word unbothered, I'm going to take it as, how can I get grounded and how can I find that happy medium of allowing life to do its thing, controlling what I can control, when and if it's beneficial, reacting less and doing more for myself and therefore for others that I care about. So being unbothered is a state of mind that comes with a certain level of confidence, self-worth, and self-esteem building. I just made a podcast about this, and I will link that below or somewhere on this video or in the podcast description for you to watch, because that is the foundation and the root of this. This being sort of its part two. I have always been a very anxious person. I worry about way too much. I stress about stupid things and on the grand scheme of life are not a big deal, but in the moment become such a big deal, whether that was in relationships and friendships, career, just life in general, little things. I would just flip the fuck out. I would react because I was anxious. I was bothered by everything. Things that people said were such a big deal to me, were kind of like defining me because I didn't have my own backbone. I didn't really know who I was, who I wanted to be, and where I was going. So being bothered, right? Caring allows you to create a path to where are my passions, who am I, what do I stand on, what do I care for, what do I believe in? So please don't take being unbothered as being this cold fucking shell of a human being. Here's the key to being unbothered. You have to be unbothered by things that are not a big deal on the grand scheme of things. You have to be unbothered by what people have to say about you that don't mean anything to you. Somebody once told me when I was struggling with online trolls for a while, when I first kind of had a bit of a overnight success online, and I did not know what was coming for me. I had people saying shit about me that obviously were not true, but still hit so badly. People were poking fun of my appearance, because what else are they going to poke fun of? You don't know me. You can't see my life through this lens, So it's just what you see, which is me. And, like low blows, comments about things about my appearance that I never noticed that suddenly now I was so insecure about. But that was because I was just generally insecure. Somebody told me that the words that come out of people that don't matter shouldn't matter. If you don't know who that person is, why do you care what they have to say? If they are not important to you, if you wouldn't dodge a bullet for them, why do you care what they have to say? Who are these people? Obviously, if you do click on those little trolls profiles, they've got no photos of themselves because they wouldn't dare. They're out here talking about physical appearance, right? Because they're the most insecure about their physical appearance. When somebody says something or points something out continuously, and it's a constant pattern, even your friends, so keep an eye out for that. It's them projecting their insecurities. I had a big problem with women whose body shape were opposite of mine because I was insecure about what I had growing up. People who had big boobs, I was always like, oh my God, look at her with her tits out. Like always tits. I kept bringing it up because I was unhappy with my boobs. I still grapple with that from time to time because of the standard of beauty nowadays. But I've learned and trained myself to ground myself, to understand where things come from. And then I can actually take control over that moment. Now, this is going to trip some of you guys up, okay? There's a certain level of letting go and not being in control that actually allows you to be in so much control and provide you with so much peace and quiet in your head. When there is something that's out of your realm of control, which is somebody else, number one, the state of the world, I know we say we can change the world, but only in numbers. You yourself cannot change the entire state of the world, only the world in your head. So keep that in mind. Letting go of that and being like, I can't control him. I can't control her. I can't control if they're going to pursue me seriously or not. What I can control is that. Letting it go is a form of control. I cannot be bothered by things that being bothered by won't help with. I can't take control over it. So me sitting here and freaking out about it and creating reactions and, causing a fight and starting shit with people, it's not going to do anything. It's me taking out all of my thoughts and feelings onto somebody else, hoping that provides me with relief, and in turn never does. It just makes you more embarrassed, more ashamed. You wish you could take it back. You wish you didn't text that person in the middle of the night. If we understand ourselves, our insecurities, who we want to be, where we want to go, all of these things, then we can dictate our actions. Who we are dictates our actions. So if you don't like who you are, you have to change who you are so you won't be as bothered by things. When I started working on my self-esteem and accepting who I was, inside, outside, what I've been through, doing better, obviously, and changing things I didn't like, but accepting things I couldn't change, like my appearance. I didn't want to resort to plastic surgery or going under the knife. I didn't want to do that. I've never done that. For me, plastic surgery and things like that was not a problem because I knew that wasn't going to solve my insecurity. My insecurity was about certain parts of my looks. And I feel like even if I were to do something, it would just be for the male gaze. It wasn't coming from a me place. It was coming from externally, because how would I know if that was acceptable or not, or sexy or not? I'm told, right? So once I started to understand these concepts, then I changed as a human being. I was able to come to terms with my body, right? With things that made me insecure. And then I became unbothered by it. It took time, but all you have to do is understand who you are, understand where you need to improve, make those improvements if you can, and if you can't, learning to accept them and letting go of that control of trying to make everything perfect and keeping up with trends and keeping up with what people think or say or what their opinions are. Go fuck yourself. Stay in your own goddamn lane and let me do me. So big concept here is how we understand ourselves dictate our actions, okay? It's going to be kind of like an automatic response. So that is sort of the root as to how to really be unbothered, really heal the shit that's underneath you being bothered, okay? You can act like you're unbothered all you want, but all you're doing is brewing that shit up. When you try and run away from your feelings, you guys have experienced this probably first fucking hand, because I know I have. It boils up, and out of nowhere, this fucking ginormous snowball hits you in the fucking face, and you just crumble. It's going to come out in its own ways. You're going to self-sabotage your relationships, your friendships, because of jealousy, insecurity, self-esteem issues. You're not going to be able to get a high-paying job because you feel like you're not smart enough, you're not good enough. All of these things, right? It comes from that. And that is how you're going to walk the walk and talk the talk going forward. It's all what's in here that dictates what will be out here. Obviously, alongside discipline and hard work, if you want to change your reality, if you want to change how you view the world, if you want to change your insecurities or what triggers you, you have to start inward, because that's where it's coming from. I'm not about band-aid solutions here. I like to get to the root of the fucking problem. That's why I really respect Eastern medicine normally. We get to the root of the problem. We're not just like fucking medicating while damaging all our other organs. Okay, I gotta go to this specialist, instead of dealing with the body as a fucking whole, which is what we should be doing. The whole package, the root of the problem, and how that's obviously affecting certain areas of our lives. So now that we've gotten all of that out of the way, we laid a little bit of a foundation down for you. I'm going to tell you guys how I've handled moments where I could have been really fucking bothered. I could have been bothered that he didn't like me. I could have been bothered that he didn't text me back. I could have been bothered that this girl was talking shit. I could have been bothered that people online sometimes call me fucking fucked up names. I could have been bothered that I was cheated on, you know? And while obviously these things will trigger some sort of emotional response, you don't have to make it bigger than what it is. And that is the key to being unbothered. You are a human being. The key is never to be numb. Okay, that's the worst thing that could happen. The goal here isn't to not care. The goal here is to understand what is worth caring and therefore reacting or not reacting to, and what is not. I was rereading The Untethered Soul, which is a phenomenal book, and I know that most of you guys have read it. If you have not, add it to your book list. It's on my Amazon storefront alongside all these other books that I recommend everyone read. I think it's very important. They make great gifts as well. I know that I'm going to gift that to everybody in my life going forward. I think everyone needs a good fucking read. And in chapter 18, okay, towards the very end of the book, I believe the chapter was called, The Secret of the Middle Way or something like that. And this really resonated with me. This really gave me another tool to ground myself in moments where I had an emotional response, but I knew it's not worth it. But I'm like dying on the inside. Like I need to do something about it. Oh my God. How do I find myself centered without numbing, without suppressing, so that I'm doing good things for myself in the future? I'm teaching myself skills that will prep me for future shit, because you will be bothered again and again and again. You will be annoyed again and again and again. Life will throw you curveballs over and over and over again. That is the name of the fucking game. And instead of, like I always say, instead of working against it, you got to find ways to work with it, because we can sit there and bitch that it shouldn't be like this, that it sucks, that all that stuff. That's a waste of your goddamn time. And if you value your time, you would realize that fighting against it is only going to create more damage, more resentment, more hurt, and a goddamn chip on your shoulder, which you already have plenty. Okay, we don't need to add more. So in this chapter, The Secret of the Middle Way, spoke about this pendulum. This is a great mental thing to do. For my visual people out there, I'm visually gifted, actually. Fun fact. So for my visual learners, okay, this is going to be amazing for you. For my anxious people, it's going to be amazing for you. For my reactive people who might have a bit of anger problems or struggle holding their emotion or figuring out their emotion or sitting with their emotion, this is a really great exercise that you can think of no matter where you are, in public, fucking in the middle of a fight, whatever it is, that can help ground you and bring you back down to reality and allow you to think with a fresher mind, because we don't always have, ample amount of time to leave, go to a different room, pause everything, which I get. Even though that is important and is something that you should have in your toolbox, sometimes it's okay to vocalize that you need a minute to go and excuse yourself and be with yourself and take deep breaths, or decide that maybe it's better to talk about it at a later date. Schedule the date with someone to show that you actually are going to follow through with it, but you need a minute. This makes you a very smart, well-rounded person, whether that is in a relationship, a friendship, a disagreement that you might have, something with work, making any form of investments or, purchases or things like that. It is very important to have that little bit of take a deep breath. Let's really think about this. Let's give myself a minute. I'm feeling all kinds of things. I don't want to be impulsive. I don't want to be reactive, because that goes to show that you're out of control. It's very unattractive, okay? Somebody who can't control themselves, it's scary, alarming, unattractive. You don't seem reliable. You kind of seem like a fucking nut job, okay? Too much of one extreme is never good. If you shut down and suppress, not good. If you're too emotional, reactive, not good. So my men, for you that shut down and pretend like everything's dandy, not great. It's going to catch up to you. Same with those that are reactive and emotional. You sometimes just shoot yourself in the foot every time you are reactive. And then you have to apologize for something that maybe you didn't need to apologize for from the get-go because it wasn't even your thing to apologize on, but because of your reaction, now you look like the bad guy. And I know that this is probably hitting home to a lot of my ladies that are in relationships right now. So let's get into it. This pendulum, this is what you do. Close your eyes and I want you to think of a pendulum. If you don't know what a pendulum is, I want you to Google it. I'll insert a video or picture here so you kind of understand what that is. A pendulum that swings back and forth. If it swings to the right, too much to the right, it's in one extreme. If it's swinging too much to the left, it's in another extreme. The goal is having the pendulum, which is your emotions, which is your feelings, your thoughts, sit in the middle as best as you can. Life will rock that pendulum up, but you have to wait till it settles, till it gets back into its happy medium position, right down the middle there. Every time it swings because of something external that is causing an internal reaction, therefore the pendulum is swinging, I want you to not do anything until it gets more to the center. And how do you know if it's getting to the center? I want you to sit there. This is sort of like a meditation, like a few second meditation. And sometimes I think, oh my God, I found something out, makes me feel uncomfortable. Oh my God, I'm going to fucking lose my mind. And I sit there and I close my eyes or I keep them open and I just picture it in my head, this pendulum going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And I'm just like breathing as this is happening. And then I see it go to the middle. It's weird how my body can already match this image. And if there's another image that's similar that you resonate better with, then go with that. And when it gets to center on its own, it does this in my head. Then I feel like I can tackle whatever this issue might be, if there is something for me to tackle. As the pendulum is slowing down, it's swinging back and forth. Sometimes you'll realize that, you know what, this isn't worth a reaction right now. You know what, all I have to do is remove myself from the situation. That's enough. Or, you know what, this really isn't that big of a deal. It just triggered something from my past or makes me feel some type of way, but how it makes me feel is a me problem, not a them problem. And if they're saying something mean, I know that it's their issues that they're trying to project onto me. And I'm not going to play in their shit. I'm not going to sit in a pile of mud and play with their shit. I'm not doing that, right? Similar to my past episode that I made, I told you guys, tolerance. Don't tolerate shit. Don't tolerate it. Especially things that won't matter in 5 minutes, 5 hours, 5 years, however long you want to view it. When you zoom out, bird's eye view, is this the end of the world? No. Chances are it's not the end of the goddamn world. Okay? And chances are there's probably not much that you can do about it if it's coming from an external force, somebody else. Okay? He doesn't want you. She doesn't like you back. Big fucking deal. You're sad. You want to ask them why. You want to text them. You're stalking them, whatever. Stop. Let the pendulum swing till it's at its center and then assess. Okay? This, again, builds a threshold that I've spoken about in several episodes. We're building a threshold here between an emotional, kind of feeling to a reaction, right? Let's build that threshold. And by the time you get to the point where you need to make a decision, if you're going to react, if there's something that needs to be done, you're probably going to say, you know what? There's not much that needs to be done. It's not worth my time. And this is how you get to being unbothered. This is the process that goes on in someone's body when they're genuinely unbothered in terms of being healthy. You will be bothered by shit. Things will affect you, right? To a certain degree. But eventually with time and with this practice, you're not going to be reactive. Okay. And I think that's what people mean by bothered. You can tell when someone's bothered, right? But when you can't tell, you assume that they're unbothered. So I'm going to tell you guys a little story. I was cheated on. And I found out by getting that dreaded, message on Instagram. Hey girl, I'm so sorry to do this, but, and I'm like, here we fucking go. Right. And this was, I think, the first man that ever cheated on me. Okay. So this was fresh and new. And I thought I was on top of the world because I was never cheated on before, which means nothing. If you're cheated on or not cheated on, it means nothing. It has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with the cheater. You don't know if somebody has insecurities and problems that they don't know how to deal with, and therefore they resort to cheating. So it has nothing to do with you. You can be perfect. You can be stellar. If they're going to do it, they're going to do it regardless because they themselves are unhappy with themselves, need a distraction from that. So that's what they do. So I received this message from somebody I didn't know, and obviously, what does she look like? Blonde, fake boobs, opposite of me. So not only was I triggered by obviously being cheated on and being blindsided and mad that I trusted him, even though I was very proud with the amount of trust I gave him, because I'm not the type of person that trusts easy, but in order for me to enjoy a relationship, I need to trust him till he gives me a reason not to. And this was my reason. And it came to me because I trusted. The universe worked its way to me. I believe in karma, all this stuff. Everything happens the way it's supposed to happen. I get this message and I feel rage. I feel even more rage and anger that she's opposite of me. It's offensive to me. I'm now even more insecure about things I've dealt with, these insecurities I was working so hard at dealing with and working with and, coming to terms with, and then in turn loving myself. Now I was like, fuck, shit, maybe I was wrong. Maybe I should be insecure. And I was going through it for 5 minutes. Most girls and most guys' first reaction is to pick up the phone and give them fucking shit or text them nasty messages. Because I did the hard work and I knew that my energy, my words, my presence, who I am, what I have to offer to this world and to others is a privilege and is valuable. I knew that sending text messages and giving a reaction, even if it was a negative one, was nonetheless a reaction, was nonetheless me in a subliminal way showing him that I was mad, that I was so hurt, that I kind of wanted to talk about it, or, I needed to prove myself. I need to tell him I found out. I needed to it's this weird thing, that even when you give somebody a negative reaction, you're still putting in effort and energy for this. And I told myself, if somebody's going to disrespect me, right? And this is, guys, where I built my morals and my values and my tolerance levels, what I will stand for and what I will not stand for. So knowing all of this, I said, I already wasted so much energy then, because I trusted, I loved, met the family, all this respect, And this is what he does. Okay, I'm done. When you're done, guys, this is how to actually be unbothered. So even if it does bother you, I'm done. I'm done. You don't text. You don't call. You don't cause a ruckus. You don't look for revenge. Okay, because that shows that you're hurting. You posting on Instagram shows that you're hurting. Okay, oh my God, I can't live without him. No. Okay, you're hurting. So what did I do? I took all of the screenshots she sent me. I took all of the messages, compiled them into a beautiful little folder for him, and I sent it his way. And the minute it said read, that he got these messages, I blocked him. Now he knew that we were done, and I didn't react. He doesn't know how I feel, and I'm not going to wound myself more by asking questions that no matter what the answer is, won't suffice. I'm not going to constantly hurt myself and be in a situation that just hurt me very much. I am not going to be with somebody who doesn't trust me, respect me, and all those things. So that is how I reacted, because what I did was, although in those 5 minutes I saw rage, and I mean, if you guys want, I'll give you the details. I was at my mom's house, luckily, because I was staying there for the weekend and it was just around the holiday season. I already bought all him and his family Christmas gifts. I mean, it was pretty bad. I already spent a holiday season with them. I've already experienced all of this. In those 5 minutes when I saw rage, I waited till my pendulum was centered. And then I did the most beautiful thing I could have ever done. Honestly, guys, I've never really bragged about anything, but this I'll fucking brag about till the day I die. That move was a class act. That move, and I don't even want to tell you what it did to him. I don't even want to tell you, which is secretly not to get revenge, but it secretly was revenge enough. Losing me was revenge enough for him. Yes, he came crawling back. Yes, he cried himself to sleep. Yes, his whole family and friends said, we've never seen him like this. He couldn't sleep, couldn't eat. I mean, lost his goddamn mind. And I think partially because of what I did, which was give him nothing. Give him nothing. Because I chose the higher road for myself. I modeled to him then that, this is who I am. And because of who I am, these will be my actions. My actions will always align with my core. Okay. And that's why people feel, that they can trust me. And that's why, when I'm around, people feel my energy. I'm very authentic through and through, from point A to point B. And that's why I told you guys from the beginning is when we understand ourselves, and how we understand ourselves dictates our actions, right? And therefore dictates when we'll be unbothered and from what we will be bothered or unbothered from. You don't want to switch up, okay, in moments of emotional intensity and weakness and stress and pain. I dealt with my pain privately, as you should, with, yes, people that I trusted and cared for. But let me tell you, because I had my morals and my values in check, I knew what my non-negotiables and boundaries were. I'll tell you, that was the least painful breakup I've ever had. And that was the relationship I got cheated on. People are like, that's wild. That's wild. But genuinely, because I said, okay, well, you didn't respect me. I'm done. Clean cut. There's no residual residue. The residue I have to deal with is my own emotions, which I'm working on, but it was so much easier. I didn't cry myself to sleep. I threw my phone across the room while I was at my parents' house within those 5 minutes of rage, right? But I let the pendulum swing and I chilled for a minute, and then I decided to move forward. Now, when the pendulum is swinging, I want you to think about it if you're more spiritual or if you know any of these concepts, yin and yang. And within the yin and yang symbol, right, like there's black and there's a white dot, and then there's white and there's a black dot. Balance. It's all about balance. Masculine, feminine. You need a little bit of femininity in your masculinity for there to be balance. Okay, not 50-50. Because if you're a man, you need to be healthy in your masculinity, but you do have a bit of femininity so you can connect with the feminine. Right? You have to have feminine qualities to be nurturing and loving and to feel things, right? To have emotional intelligence. And masculinity is independence, respect, which I displayed both in those moments. My pendulum was in the middle. I displayed class. I displayed, a sense of unbotheredness, which was sexy and intriguing and probably confused the fuck out of him. I didn't swear. I sent the messages. I didn't even bother using my thumb more than I needed to, because one thumb movement was already goddamn too much for this man who decided to abuse my trust and love for his own stupidity. My insecurities about who she was, it got to the point where a week later I was like, I hope they end up together. I hope they do, These types of behaviors that they were engaging in, possibly knowing, possibly not. I mean, like attracts like. Do it. Be with it. I send you my best wishes. I hope that, those boobs were what you needed in your life. I don't know. And so that's genuinely how I spoke about it to myself. And that's why I moved on. And within a few days, my friends, your girl was looking hotter, better, and feeling her best. Like, I have never had a better month than that month. Let me tell you, I have stories from that month that equate to a year of stories, in the best, healthiest, most fun, incredible way. Now, this concept originally comes from Lao Tzu, who is an ancient Chinese philosopher. I'm talking ancient, like 500 BCE. I believe he coined this whole concept of Taoism, which is about living in harmony and what the Untethered Soul, the book, really claimed as the way, right? Which is where the pendulum hits, where it is in equilibrium, in that comfortable center, which is your goal if you want to be unbothered. Balance is health. That's what it is, right? Because if something is not balanced, it creates dis-ease. And if something is balanced, there is ease in the body, right? So you see the word disease where it comes from as well. When your body's not at ease is all about balanced. If it's not balanced, then the whole body has to compensate for it. When your emotions are not balanced, you have to compensate for that. It's essentially Newton's third law. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. So if you're going to lash out and frantically text this person back, you're going to be met with things that are going to cause more damage to you. Okay? You're going to be met with embarrassment, with shame. Why the fuck did I do that? I looked like this now. That's totally not who I wanted to be in that moment. I raised my voice. Why did I do that? And the truth is, guys, and it's not going to sound maybe politically correct or right by any means. I don't give a flying fuck, but it's the truth. If you act out of line, someone's going to look at you different, period. If the first time you raise your voice, the person that you're trying to be in a relationship with is going to look at you and be like, this person doesn't know how to handle conflict. Even if it was a one-time slip up, it's very important to be balanced. And when you're balanced, you make the right choices. Usually your brain is on right. Your emotions are not running the show. Okay. They're not taking control over things. Your brain is telling you these emotions, valid, not valid, but here's how we're going to react to them. Okay. You're going to show up as the highest version of you in this moment. And that's what balance is all about. So if you're going to react to something, you're going to be met with a reaction. The pendulum's going to swing from the right. It's going to have to go to the left just to get back into the middle eventually. Okay? So you're going to be met with a reaction if you are going to react like a crazy person, if you're going to not be balanced. Things are going to have to compensate for your behavior. Things are going to have to compensate for you being bothered by something that perhaps you don't need to be outwardly bothered by or bothered at all by. And that is for you to figure out what is worth being bothered by and what is not, right? For me, it would bother me if my business was not succeeding. So how can I succeed? It adds drive, fire, right? For me to move forward. Then I figure out actionable ways to take charge of the situation. It's my business. It's in my control. So let me be more disciplined about this, this, and this. And then we'll see, and you try different things. You problem solve because you're bothered by the fact that this is what you want and things aren't working out. So how can I make it work out? If you're bothered by your weight or your health, you go to the fucking gym, but you have to go consistently because you're bothered by it. If you weren't bothered by it, if you didn't give a fuck, you would be unhealthy, you'd be overweight, you'd be uncomfortable, all these things. So even when you are unbothered in an unhealthy way, you're being met with a reaction to that, which is health problems, So there always has to be a reaction, an equal or opposite one for there to be balance. So the world will do this to you, okay? The world will make sure it happens because the world will not be able to fucking spin up in that fucking universe of ours if there's no balance. By practicing this and trying to focus on getting to a medium, a middle space, we can create a habit, which are then routines that define us. So if you want to be truly unbothered, you have to do this practice every time you feel bothered, every time there's an emotional reaction that's coming out or you feel like might come out. I'm going to choose to not do anything and decide what to do when I need to decide what to do, if I need to decide what to do. Sometimes just taking a nap, and I gave you guys a 5-step system before, eat something small, drink some water, get hydrated, ask yourself what the highest version of you would do, masturbate, take a nap, and after you do all those things, I guarantee you'll feel different about the situation. And again, that's building threshold. That's another alternative, my 5-step system to seeing how you feel once the dust settles, because your thoughts and feelings change, which I hope shows you that you're not super reliable in the heat of the moment. We're built to have these rash, impulsive emotions, and we oftentimes act out of fight, flight, because back in the day, we needed that to be our immediate reaction so that we could survive. Sometimes in those moments, it makes sense to act impulsively like that. And that's why we have those jerk reactions. With time, when we don't deal with trauma too, when we become very sensitive to things, when we, again, numb or distract, we're not building skills. We're not building, strong connections between, okay, if I feel like this, I don't have to react like this. You're not working on yourself throughout all those years. And suddenly now, when you need to, you realize it's really hard to build that threshold because you never worked on it. So the threshold became like this. And as you get older, it doesn't really serve you, right? You become rejected from normal people, from good people. You can't get the job that you want. You can't be with the people that you want because they're on a different caliber, because you're still acting like a bitch baby. Because you haven't learned that doesn't work. I mean, it wouldn't have worked in a European household, I'll tell you that. So if you want to be attractive, if you want to be unbothered, if you want to be healthy, if you want to be a well-rounded person, you need to have your own shit going for you that will create a sense of fulfillment and happiness, mental stimulation that we all need as human beings. And without that, we become cuckoo, okay? We become a little fucking crazy. So get busy, find a hobby, get excited about life, figure out what your hopes and dreams are. Start that YouTube channel, start that podcast, whatever. Start writing that book. Do something when you feel uncomfortable. Do something that's going to benefit you. And these are healthier distractions that are pushing you forward in a direction that you've been wanting to go to. When you're genuinely busy and you have things going for you, you'll notice that the little things won't be as loud or as big as they once were. So if you are in a relationship and you are not working and you don't really have your own thing going for you and you're living in the shadow of your partner, you're going to realize that everything that they do is going to trigger something for you. Like, oh my God, you weren't lovey with me today. Oh my God, and you're stressed about that because all you have is your relationship. You don't have anything else that is yours. Right? And so that's when you become needy and annoying and clingy and just gross and not yourself and not the person that chances are they fell in love with, right? You probably had your own thing going for you at the time and you gave that all up for whatever the case may be. You don't want to work, or he doesn't need you to work, or she doesn't need you to work. Find a hobby. Okay, a healthy hobby, an interesting hobby, right? That'll keep you genuinely busy. So you're not going to be sitting there. And because you put that one thing as on a pedestal, like your relationship on a pedestal, It's not going to affect you as much. It's not going to push your pendulum so drastically every time somebody else who is not in your control does something. You see what I'm saying, guys? When you focus on the things that you can control, when you work at the things you can control, and don't stress too much about the things you can't. That doesn't mean not care about them or not focus on them. Yes, you should focus on your relationship. Yes, you should invest in your relationship. But when you come in there into your relationship, you're going to have so many other things that fulfill you. You're not going to be so reliant on this person. So you can really have a healthy, happy relationship between two independent people that are coming together and working towards the same kind of goal in that relationship. You become good life partners. Offer, different types of skills and different types of thoughts and feelings. And building each other up rather than tearing each other down. Don't rely and abuse friends and relationships to keep you busy and to keep you occupied and to fulfill you. I've seen a lot of people do this. They cannot be alone. If you cannot be alone, I'm not trying to scare you, but you're in danger, okay? You're in danger. Get a hobby. Figure out your shit. And you'll see that it's not going to be that big of a deal if your partner wants to watch some sports on the couch and not cuddle you for 2 seconds, okay? Take it easy, Stacey. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode on how to be unbothered, the true meaning behind it, what we're really talking about when we talk about being unbothered, the right way of going about it. If you're listening to the podcast, please give this podcast 5 large and in charge stars if you haven't already done so, and follow my podcast so you don't miss out on this. Share it with your friends. It really does mean the world to me. And if you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe to my YouTube channel and hit the bell for the notifications so you are notified for free when my next episode comes out. Take care of yourself, everyone. I love you, and I'll see you back here very soon. Bye.